Hey everybody, Corey here.
And it's me, Zach.
We wanted to tell you about our new show called The Coscarelli Factor.
You can find it on our Patreon at patreon.com/podcastingafterdark. The Coscarelli Factor covers every single film that Don Coscarelli has directed. And some other little bonus features in there too, like maybe the music videos he directed as well.
That's right. You can find all the episodes under the Auteur de Force tier on our Patreon page. Like Zach said, that's patreon.com/podcastingafterdark. And if you sign up today, you will get access to the complete Carpenter Factor series, where Zach and I went through every single movie that John Carpenter directed, from Dark Star all the way to, well, all the way till the end. So sign up today to our Patreon page and you can unlock all kinds of other things as well, like ad-free episodes and our monthly wrap-up After Dark show.
Patreon helps keep the lights on in the podcasting After Dark world. It gets pretty dark out there at night, and all your support keeps us from getting too scared.
And thank you to everyone who's signed up to our Patreon page. We really appreciate it. And as always,
we'll catch you on the dark side.
Lock your doors, close your windows, turn out your lights, for chills and thrills await you. It's time for Podcasting After Dark with your hosts, Corey Stevenson and Zach Schaefer. Stay with a friend, say your prayers as grisly ghouls close in to seal your doom. Tonight's episode,
Tremors, with Podcasting After Dark, $2 late fee, and Ready2Retro.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Swapcast. Hey, now we got a three-way dance going on this time, guys and gals. I am Corey from Podcasting After Dark. Joined with me, as always, is Zach from Podcasting After Dark and $2 late fee, and we got Max from Ready2Retro. What's up, guys? Max, how's it going, buddy?
It's great. It's a new year, a new me, and this I don't think I've said it yet. But guys, this is a new movie for me.
Oh boy. So guys and gals, we are talking about Tremors, 1990s Tremors. Zach
broke Zach's brain.
Zach's brain has been broken.
Well, wait, Max has a poster on his wall, the Tremors poster.
No, that was Corey.
Oh, that was your wall?
Yeah,
Corey?
that's mine, buddy. Yeah, it's this artist. I'll post it, guys and gals, onto
Sorry, my face is melting.
I know. I'll post it on Instagram, guys and gals. There's this artist that I met at Baltimore Comic-Con, I think last year, 2 years ago. And what he does is he makes maps of locations. He did one for Haddonfield, and he puts on the map where everyone dies in it because it's all for horror movies. And he did one for Perfection, the town of Perfection, and he lists where everyone dies and who they are and everything. And I'll post the picture of it on the Instagram so everyone can see it. But yeah, Zach, that's my apartment, which you've never been to, obviously.
I haven't. So, well, no. Little inside. Sometimes I get a bombardment of text messages from my nerd group, and I'm just like, who sent what, when, where, how, why? And so I saw this image. I'm like, that's awesome. I didn't know Max was such a dark, deep fan of Tremors. And I was,
because I'm not.
Because he's not, and Corey clearly is. And Corey, we've been tremoring since last year, all the way back to the summer of 2025. And we said to Max back in the summer of 2025, we're going to do a proper episode of Tremors on Podcasting After Dark, and you're going to be on. And that was in the summer, and things happen. But guess what?
Life happens.
Max is here, baby!
Hell yeah.
That's right. And this episode will drop on all three feeds at the same time. Podcast After Dark, $2 late fee, and Ready2Retro. So go check it out. Obviously you're listening to us on one of these three feeds, but make sure you give whoever's feed you're listening to, give them a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. Just do that. It's nice. But Zach,
yeah.
Before we get into our experience with Tremors, Ready2Retro has a little segment. Max, why don't you tell everybody about the hot seat segment and what it is and what happens on it?
Yes, so it's the hot seat. It's not original to Ready to Retro. Like I think Kevin and Bean used to do it. But anyways, so it's just basically random questions, and whoever's in the hot seat has to fire it off. There's no explanation. There's no talking about it in the moment. We can talk about it after, but it's just rapid fire, baby. That's why it's called the hot seat.
Okay.
And I love when people freeze up. There's some people. I think I've only had like one person. I think it was Diallo was the first person a few months ago on our show. Diallo's a friend of all of us. He was the first person I allowed to skip one of the hot seat questions. So,
well, and it's funny because I was listening to that episode, which is the Waterworld episode. And guys and gals, if
Yes.
you're listening to this on the pad stream or the $2 late fee one, go check out the Waterworld episode with Diallo on Ready to Retro. It's a great conversation. And I was like, you know what? Let me make a hot seat. They're sort of Tremors, focused, Tremors adjacent, but I'm going to give it to Max and to Zach at the same time. So just to keep things, you can fire them all. You can give me your answers at the exact same time or one at a time. I don't care. This will be fun, though, I think. Tremors came out in 1990, and I'm going to ask you both, what's your favorite movie from 1990? And I'm going to help you out because I wrote down a shit ton of them just because I was interested. And Zach, it's a lot of movies we've actually covered on Podcasting After Dark. So,
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to rapid fire these for you all. Feel free to choose one of these, or you can choose something I didn't mention. Night of the Living Dead remake, Nightbreed, Miller's Crossing, I Come in Peace, Demon Wind, Dick Tracy, The First Power, Darkman, Jacob's Ladder, Goodfellas, Memphis Belle, Navy SEALs, Firebirds, Days of Thunder, The Grifters, Postcards from the Edge, Total Recall, King of New York, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Die Hard 2, Exorcist 3, Flatliners, Kindergarten Cop, Predator 2, love that fucking movie, Spaced Invaders, and The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. Max, which one's your favorite?
Come on. It's TMNT. I
Yep.
didn't even need to look it up. I mean, I was like, oh, got it. 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Easy.
I was 99.9999% certain that's what you were going to go with. Zach, what's your favorite movie from 1990?
Oh, Adventures of Ford Fairlane. Like the power drill.
Oh, Stanley. Oh, man. I will say that's probably my favorite as well, but there's a lot that I love. I will have to say Spaced Invaders will always live infamously in my childhood because my mom took me to go see it because I was so upset that my cat had to be put down that day, and she took me to go see Spaced Invaders to kind of take my mind off of it. So yay, Spaced Invaders.
Did it take your mind off it?
Nope, it just solidified Spaced Invaders in my childhood, and not in a great way. All right, what is your favorite movie monster, Max?
Does Chucky count?
Sure, he's pretty
Chucky.
monstrous, sure. Zach?
Well, oh God, that's tough. I'm gonna have to go with the Predator from Predator.
Okay.
Good one.
Shout out to our boy Richard Chavez. If I said something otherwise, I might get beat up for it.
Probably.
I'll, of course, have to go with the Xenomorph.
Shocker!
And that is, of course, the correct answer is the Xenomorph.
Shocker!
To kind of tie into our interview with Michael Gross that dropped last week, Max, who's your favorite TV dad?
TV dad. This is a lot harder to be on this side. Let's say Stu Pickles, Rugrats.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Zach, favorite TV dad? Bill Cosby.
Man, y'all gotta listen to that interview. Okay. This is tough, actually. I really want to say Stephen Keaton, but I'm gonna go with Drew Thatcher from the TV show Life Goes On.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Very
That's
good.
a deep cut.
Yeah, very good. All
I
right.
love that show. I love that show. It's so heartwarming.
And no irony whatsoever, I am going to go with Bill Cosby because that show is fantastic. And I do think the actor is terrible, but the show was great, and he kind of was my dad growing up. So unfortunately, well, him and Steve Keaton. But what are you going to do? One of them won, one of them didn't.
Wait,
okay.
y'all.
Yeah.
Well, to quote Michael Gross, he likes sex the old-fashioned way. Consensual.
Yeah, that was great. He was such a good sport with everything.
You got it. If you guys have not checked out that interview Corey and I did with Michael Gross, go check it out. It's on all our platforms, and subscribe to us. By the way, it is so much fun.
It is. It's one of our best. I think it was one of our most fun, at least.
Yes.
Okay. Favorite handyman, Earl or Valentine? Max.
I'll go Valentine.
Okay, Zach.
Oh. Earl.
I 100% knew that's how that was going to go.
Remo Williams.
Well, hold on. Final question is, so for Max, what is your favorite Kevin Bacon movie? And Zach, what is your favorite Fred Ward movie? Max first.
Okay. You might be like, what the heck? I really like him in X-Men First Class. I love that movie. I love X-Men First Class. A lot of people think he's miscast in it, but that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Dude, I freaking love X-Men First Class. I think it's an amazing, not just amazing X-Men movie, it's a great superhero movie. I feel like it's kind of getting lost to time, but it's actually one of my favorite ones. So good call on that one. Zach, I think you mentioned it, but what's your favorite Fred Ward movie?
Well, Kevin Bacon's Quicksilver, by the way. Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
And that's a perfect way to end the hot seat. Great. Awesome.
Love it. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun, actually. Maybe we try to incorporate this more when we have guests on.
Everyone who knows me knows that I know how to finish.
Well, as long as your wife finishes first. So,
always.
Max, before we get into our experience with Tremors and the franchise, you want to give some shout outs to some nonprofits out there helping out. It's been a year since the Altadena fires, and what's going on out there, and are there ways that people can still help?
Yeah, so for context, my family and we are Eaton fire survivors. They call us total loss survivors, so we lost everything: home, cars, all our contents, everything. So just I don't know, celebrated, acknowledged maybe the 1-year anniversary a couple weeks ago. So I just wanted to come out here and shout out a few nonprofits. So thank you, Corey and Zach, for allowing me just to just maybe give some clarity too. And I know there's a lot of talk about where's fire aid money and all that stuff. Well, if you feel led to, here are a few nonprofits that I know that are on the ground doing things, and they're more organic. They're more they're actually people who lost things, so they're not big organizations. The first one is Altadena Musicians, and that is altadenamusicians.org. And this is great. This is just a group of musicians. There's thousands of musicians in Altadena. It was full of professional and personally, I know Peaches from Peaches and Herbs. She lost all of her golden records and things that Michael Jackson gave her, and things like that, things that can never be replaced. So Altadena musicians are giving instruments back to the hands of musicians, giving it to kids who maybe had a drum set at Christmas or stuff like that. So want to plug that. So the other one is Postfire. Postfire is a great nonprofit that just gets resources in the hands of survivors. So they do rapid things. They'll get donations, and might be donations of blankets or money, and they just immediately give it to survivors that they are connected with. So those are two on the ground. If you want to go a little bigger, there's always Habitat for Humanity, who are creating homes for more of the on the edge kind of families who are going to probably not be able to afford building their homes. Maybe they've been up in Altadena for 50 years and don't have the insurance money, if you recently had a mortgage or something like that. So they're building homes, especially for the elderly Black community. So that's great. And you can do San Gabriel Valley Habitat for Humanity. So want to plug that as a survivor, as someone who is in the process of rebuilding, Altadena. There's a lot of pain, but there's a lot of hope and coming together. So have a long road ahead, but it's powerful to see what's going up in the mountains.
And of course, listeners to $2 late fee and Podcast After Dark know that Dustin was affected by the same fires and everything like that. So yeah, we know people and everything, and it's something that's still affecting a lot of people's lives. Zach, how is Dustin doing these days?
Same as Max. It's rough, and like Max has said before, and Dustin has said too, it's like after time passes, everybody seems to forget about the people who went through the tragedy and continue to go through the tragedy. So, if you can support any way you can, that would be great. And also check in on your friends, just see how they're doing. Let them know you're thinking about them, because that goes a long way too. It's not always, what you can do. It's how you can do it emotionally. Just show up for your friends emotionally, be there for them, and have fun with them. I mean, one of the things I love to do with this show and $2 and Territory Marks and 80s Kids Unite is putting like just joy into things, and you'd be surprised how far that goes in life. And having Max on here means a lot, because we get to goof around for a little bit and talk about a wacky ass movie and forget about all the other craziness in the world.
Yeah. No,
well said.
Definitely, I was looking forward to this all day long, so I'm excited to get into it. Zach, what is your experience with Tremors? And all right, guys and gals, yes, we know there's going to be there's a bunch of sequels, there's a TV show and everything. This will be mostly focused just on the movie. But Zach, have you seen the sequels? Did you ever watch the TV show back in the day?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. I saw Tremors 1 and 2 in the theater with my mom at Sunnyvale Town Center back in the day, where I saw Cool as Ice, by the way, in 1991. Just want to put that in there again. And if you want to listen to our Cool as Ice episode, you should definitely do that, or watch it. Yeah, the franchise has been like longstanding with me. And I went through mixed emotions. There was a time when I was like, I really don't think I like Tremors and not a really big fan. And then I revisited it recently within the past couple of years. And I'm like, no, actually I forgot how much I love this movie. I actually think it ages better than many other monster movies. And I've grown to love it. I've grown to love it because of the fandom too. Like, Corey and I ran what is considered one of the largest panels at Pasadena Comic-Con last year, really quickly. And we interviewed like 14, 15 people on stage connected with the Tremors franchise. And the fans were huge. Shout out to our buddy Levi and Glenn, because I know they're probably listening. And, people like Don Michael Paul, who directed a bunch of the sequels and is a big proponent of the Tremors franchise. That's my history with it. I love Tremors. I'm a big Tremors guy. And obviously with Michael Gross, that was huge too. And getting to just talk to him. He's done a million podcasts about Tremors. So go check some of those out with our friend Levi too. And yeah, my history is I saw it with my mom.
Yeah, I saw it in the theater as well. I was, I think, 12 when that came out, and it was in no, my God, I might have been 11 because my birthday's in February, and it came out, I think, January 17th, 1990, so it kicked off 1990. What a great year. Night of the Living Dead remake, my God, so many movies influenced me that came out that year. I was always a big fan of this movie. I watched it a lot with my friend group. It was always one of those ones like, hey, we'll put this on in the background and watch it. Yeah, sure. It's always a good time. That being said, I was never the biggest fan of the sequels. I've only seen I think part 2 once and then a random other one. And I don't even think I've ever seen the TV show. My wife, though, is a huge fan of the first movie and all of the sequels. And that poster that I was telling you guys about, I kind of got it for her. She's the one that framed it and everything. She loves Tremors. She loves Tremors as a franchise as a whole. For me, I love the first movie. I think it's a damn near perfect film, and it's been in my life ever since I saw it in the theater. I watched it at least once a year growing up. So much so that me and my friends, we would act like Walter Chang when he gets eaten and with his jazz hands. We'd always go, ah! put our hands out like that. Like little things would just kind of stick in your mind, or how Kevin Bacon says smorgasbord, and everything. But Max, what is your experience with Tremors in the franchise?
So there's a lot I can say right now. Okay, so what I will say is this: it's one of those movies that when you sit down, you're like, I've seen this movie, and then you watch it, you're like, dude, I have not seen this movie before.
Wow.
So I was sitting down and be like, you know what? I've never seen this movie. But I think that's okay because there's probably many people listening to this right now and be like, this guy's talking about Tremors. He's never seen it. But I think it actually gives a different perspective as someone who enjoys this genre movies and enjoys this kind of movies and
I'm
give a
almost
perspective
happy.
in 2020. Yeah, so
I'm happy that you haven't seen it. I welcome a fresh take on this movie.
and I have some takes. I have some positive takes.
Yeah.
But I'll say this, I enjoyed it. It was refreshing, and when you're having this nostalgic, I mean, there's so much out there that there's just going to be blind spots, right? We all have them. We can't watch every single movie. But when this movie came out, I was in the womb. So I couldn't see it in the theaters, it was January. So I, was the size of like a mango or something. So, or maybe a pineapple, I don't know. So I was almost there though. But first time watching it, and I'll say this, I was looking online today and seeing where I can get the 7 film box sets. So that's how much I enjoyed it. I'm ready to do a deep dive into the sand, into the pits, and find those
Graboids.
Let's do the Graboids. I want to watch all the Tremor movies just so I can say that I have.
Nice. You want to get some ass blasters and
hell yeah, dude. Yeah.
Blast some at. Wait, what?
What?
Well, Zach, how about we get into the cast and crew of this film and see where it takes us?
I'm just still thinking about ass blasters. Yeah, I mean, look, it's got Kevin Bacon at the top of the poster. 1990, he was still pretty hot commodity. Oh, yeah. But let's be honest, like outside of Footloose, he was, he's starring in movies, but he wasn't like a blockbuster action hero. And, and for him to star in a horror/action movie is kind of a stretch. I mean, for him to carry it. And also Fred Ward was not, he was a well-known name, but was he a leading star? I mean, he was with Remo Williams, but was that a huge hit? Not really, So, and Miami Blues, like he wasn't the lead actor in that with Alec Baldwin, but he kind of was the hero, but I don't know. So it's like you've got these two amazing actors as the leads who there's a reason why it wasn't a huge success. It also came out in January, like you said. January is like notorious for movie studios just dumping films. It's a dumping ground month. So
this did not do well theatrically, but on VHS it did amazing. Apparently it tripled its budget, or tripled its what it brought in theatrically with the home video explosion. It was just like it was a runaway success on home video essentially.
Oh yeah, and think about it, like kids could go out and rent it because it was PG-13. Right. So think about the video store days back in the 90s. Kids were riding their bike down to the video store, renting movies with their Blockbuster card or their mom and pop shop. And you could rent movies that were PG-13 and below. And Tremors was like a no-brainer because it's a horror film. And every kid wanted to, not every kid, but a lot of kids wanted to watch horror films and not have their parents tell them what they could or couldn't watch. There weren't many PG-13 horror films at that time, too, really, if you think about it, like the good ones anyways, outside of Monster Squad. And I'm sure there's more, but, I'm just off the top of my head. Anyways, Kevin Bacon, big leading guy, but, obviously it's a bummer that it didn't do as well as it did when it first came out. Finn Carter plays Rhonda LeBeck, and, I was not familiar with her until I saw this. Mm-hmm. And I know she's had a long run on As the World Turns. Corey and I met her at the Tremors panel. Super sweet lady, and I thought she was great in it.
Yeah, same.
I'm gonna skip over one guy. And we'll get back to him. It's like Reba McEntire.
Yeah.
Reba McEntire, who was it? By the way, I know she had her own sitcom, Reba. I think it was called.
Came out after this. This was like her first, I
that
think,
was in the
acting role.
2000s, yeah.
Yeah, so like to see a musician, we've talked about this on the Cool as Ice episode. Musicians toe dipping into, acting was commonplace. With so many, and it doesn't. Sometimes they're good. Case in point, Dwight Yoakam in Sling Blade. He's amazing in that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they're not so good, and I won't mention, who that might be because I don't want to offend anybody. But Reba was great. She plays the one half of the Gummer family. And of course, the other half of that family is our boy, Michael Gross.
Yeah. So I'm going to get Max, when we're talking about the actors here, we'll also talk about the characters. And real quick, Zach, Dwight Yoakam was great in Panic Room as well.
He's great. Yeah, he had. Didn't he have like cornrows or something?
No, that was Jared Leto, I think.
Yeah.
But Dwight Yoakam was like he had a mask on the whole time, and then he finally took it off. But yeah, we got Reba McEntire here, Max, and like you said, she's a musician. She's a popular musician, and she doesn't like play like a main character here. It's more of an ensemble cast. This movie. But I think she does a great job. But what did you think about the Gummer, husband and wife team, Michael Gross and Reba McEntire? What did you think about their characters?
Yeah, I thought it was cool because you don't see. It was like a trope after, right? Like the survivalist, let's get all the guns and things like that. I will just interject and interrupt myself by saying that I know Reba from The Little Rascals. She has like a little cameo as AJ Ferguson. So that's like what I knew her as a kid. She was in Little Rascals. So and then of course Reba came out like it was 2001, 2007. So I was much aware. I didn't watch the show, but I knew it was on, and I would see it. I'm like, oh, there's Reba. Click.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought it was cool. Like, I'm sure we'll get into all of it, but I think that one of the best things about this movie is that the ensemble is there to work together, and it's not just introduced to be slaughtered to the wolves, and I really think that makes this movie unique, where there's certain characters you're like, oh, that character's dead, ends up surviving, so I think as a whole the ensemble works, and it's really character driven, not plot driven. I mean, some of it's plot, but the actors, what they're given, really makes the characters work.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It's the characters and none of them are like, there's not like a lot of infighting happening and stuff like that, like you see in other movies or whatever. Like I always liked how, Val is, they're on the roof and they're radioing over to the Gummers. And, Reba's like, whatever you need, Val, we got you. Like, what do you need us to do? I like the fact that, like, there was no, like, jockeying for leadership roles and stuff like that. All the characters felt real. But a lot of them do play off each other as, like, sort of groups. So, Max, what did you think of Val and Earl as our heroes of the movie, our reluctant heroes that wanted to just kind of get out of town? Yeah,
no, I thought it was great. I mean, again, one of the things I wanted to talk about, and if we're just going to jump right into it.
I think it'll be, while we go through the cast and the crew, we'll sort of talk about the characters at the same time, and then we'll still have a general discussion, but we can kind of talk about the character stuff now,
Got it. Yeah. So I think that Val and Earl are great. I love the kind of older, not really father, or it was more like a mentor, I don't know if you've ever worked with someone older than you. There's just this banter that goes on, right? And I love that interaction. You jump right into it. And by the way, I'm gonna interrupt myself again. This movie starts with a Kevin pissing, and I just reviewed another movie with another Kevin where the opening shot is the exact same shot. Kevin's pissing. So Kevin Costner's pissing
in Waterworld.
Kevin Bacon's pissing in Tremors. I was like, what's going on? So I want to know how many movies are out there where the actor named Kevin, and it's opening with them, pissing. So, I thought it was just funny how it had started, and it was like I'm having deja vu, but I'm like, this is weird, but I enjoyed it.
One of my favorite scenes is at the beginning of the movie where Kevin Bacon is hammering that trying to staple down that barbed wire, and he misses it on purpose. Apparently it was done on purpose, but Fred Ward's reaction to it, because he didn't know that Kevin Bacon was going to do that, is hilarious. Zach, I know you've seen this plenty of times throughout your life. Same to you. What do you think of their relationship, Earl and Val, and then the Gummers and everyone we've talked about so far?
It's so lighthearted. It's so not, threatening at all. Like you said, Max, there's no real tension between the cast members throughout this movie. Oftentimes, and this is reminds me of when you talk about ensemble movies, you think of disaster movies. That's typically where ensembles are featured, or John Carpenter movies.
I was gonna say, or a Carpenter film.
Yeah.
Zombie movies. Yeah.
Zombie movies too. Yeah. But there's always a character in those movies that always tries to stir up the protagonist pot.
Right.
The weak link that gets everybody in trouble. And Bobby Jacoby, who plays the kid in this, who I think a lot of people would know from Iron Eagle. He's a little kid in that. He's actually brothers with Billy Jacoby, who was from Just One of the Guys. I need a lover with a slow hand. Those are their brothers, and they have a sister who's an actor too. Anyways, he's kind of like that character, that trope in movies, the one who stirs up stuff, but he's not. He's a teenage kid who's clearly, the only kid in town,
right?
So he's bored, and when you're the only kid in town in a middle of nowhere, desert town, you're gonna get into trouble. It doesn't make you bad. So I like how kind of lighthearted everybody is, and they're all likable.
Yeah.
You're not maybe supposed to like the Gummers necessarily. Oh, they're those, doomsday prepper type people, and which is way more relevant now than it was maybe back then. But they're not unlikable people. They're you just like them. You like them all.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, Reba's character, she's yeah, whatever you need, Val. They're not oh, screw you guys, we're gonna take care of ourselves. They're still a part of the community, and they know that, and I think that comes through. And what you're saying about the boy Bobby Jacoby.
Bobby.
Yeah, he
Melvin.
Melvin, fucking Melvin. He's you said it's he's an idiot and he's kind of a jerk, but you get it because he's probably bored. And I'm not gonna lie to you, when his dad Nestor, when he gets got, I always feel bad for Melvin because he's crying guys, you got to help my dad, and they know there's nothing they can do, and it's such it's a meaningful death, and it's an impactful death. And it's I never cared much for Nestor, but I certainly didn't want to see the guy get eaten, and I also didn't want to see Melvin have to see his dad getting eaten. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, I think the reason why you didn't necessarily care about him is because he wasn't a well-established character actor.
Yeah,
because this film is littered with, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but littered with character actors.
Oh yeah,
who typically you would see in the background. They'd be the jury in on a courtroom drama movie. But in this, they kind of get a bigger billing, especially the actor who plays Miguel. Because honestly, you're that guy, no offense, would literally just be, background character,
Yeah.
I used to joke with my brother when we would read the credits of action movies, because it would be stereotypical of the 80s. It'd be Indian number 2, Mexican number 1. And you're yep, those were those actors who would play them. Yeah. And that's the way it was back then, by the way. That's literally how it was. I think in Predator 2, they're Colombian number 2, that guy. Anyways, I think the reason you don't care necessarily is because there's not a lot of meat to that guy, but it's all, you feel bad when they all die, especially Victor Wong, who plays Walter Chang.
Oh yeah. So
who's Lopan, by the way, or not Lopan? He's Egg Shen.
He's Egg Shen.
From Big Trouble. Yeah,
exactly.
Which is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year, which is crazy.
Yeah, and the cast is such a multi-ethnic cast too, and I think I think Michael Gross brought it up on the panel. I can't remember if he brings it up in the interview, but he brought up on the panel that like it's a nice also representation of America and how we should all like work together to like build a better, future and everything like that. And I think the movie does represent that. And I think like you said, the guy who plays Miguel and everything, he's Hispanic, but they don't like there's never any stereotypical stuff for these actors to do. I don't think. I think they all get an equal shot at surviving and everything. Max, do you think I'm onto that, or am I wrong on my take there?
For sure. I mean, I was thinking about it because I was like, it's set in Nevada. There's got to be some Latinos in it, so
it better be.
Yeah. So if you want to take it, realistic, but also, this is stereotype. I'm half Mexican, but like community's real big in the Mexican culture, Latino culture. So I could also see Latinos not wanting to be kind of in isolation like that. And
Right.
and it reminds me, in sixth grade, I think it was sixth grade. I went on a trip with my sixth grade class, and we went to Death Valley for a week. And I don't know, I went to a private school, so it was a little more loosey-goosey. But my dad was one of the chaperones, and he rented a all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. And there was one of my friends' dad, he was also a chaperone. And there was the Borax Museum, and Borax is like the soap and stuff. And then the other dad talked to my dad, Tim, and he was like, "Hey, Tim, let's get out of here. Let's take some of the boys here and let's just go on four-wheel driving." So, they do it. And there's no cell phones or anything like that. So instead of going to the Borax Museum, we just started a four-wheel drive in the deserts of Death Valley. I'm getting somewhere. So we're like...
You hit some graboids?
Well, pretty much. But we're like probably an hour and a half away from the road, and there's no civilization, but just like the main road, and there's just people there and their RVs, and it's like it was almost spooky because it was like, we don't know who you are, you don't know who we are, like bad things could happen, right? And unfortunately bad things has happened in Death Valley. So we come back, and only the kids whose parents chaperones were the kids that were allowed to like do this four-wheel drive for permission. So we got back like after dark. Again, there's no cell service. I think cell phones were really early, and all the parents were freaking out because they thought we got abducted. And so like the parents were like hysterical. My dad was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, it got dark." But this is a long story all to say that there are people who live in the desert. Like, this isn't just make believe. There are people out there who like spend time, and that's where they lived. It wasn't just like a vacation. These people were living out there. And to me, I can't do it, but it's just crazy to see that. And that's what it reminded me of. This movie reminded me of that story.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I could live in perfection. It's too isolated.
There's no movie theater.
There's no movie theater.
Max, you mentioned Borax chemical or detergent company.
Yeah.
If you look up the town of Amargosa, if y'all want a good ghost story, I've told Corey this before. Look up the town of Amargosa Opera House, and the history behind that, and what locals will tell you, which doesn't always wind up in those little YouTube videos, is there was a lot of drama and murder and whatnot going on in Amargosa in regards to the Borax detergent company. By the way, that was Tony Gennaro who plays Miguel in the movie, and I just want to shout him out because, look, he's played he's played the baker in movies, or the water repairman, or the water tower man, or something like that.
Bus driver.
Cabbie. But he's also had other big roles in films. And the director of this movie, Ron Underwood, who Corey and I interviewed in November of last year. Y'all should check that out, with Zoran Graboids, who's the voice actor for the audiobook version of Beneath Perfection, which is the original working title of Tremors.
Yeah.
Ron Underwood cast him in Heart and Souls, which was another movie that Ron Underwood directed. So that's cool. Anyways, Tony Gennaro, I like that dude.
Yeah, me too. I do too. And real quick, Nestor, played by Richard Marcus, he was in Enemy Mine, a movie that I haven't seen, came out in 1985. I haven't seen that movie probably like in 30 years, but I watched it so much as a kid. So freaking much as a kid.
Me too.
But yeah, so that he was in that. Zach, a couple more people, like the young girl, Mindy. She's the girl from Jurassic Park.
Yeah. I think she's not like retired, but I don't think she's necessarily doing a whole lot currently. But my God, when she came out in Jurassic Park, everyone was like, that's the girl from Tremors. No, they don't necessarily say that. I remember her in that movie Angus. You've seen Angus, right,
Angus
Max? You
great.
like Angus,
Of course.
yeah. Oh, she was in Spaced Invaders too, by the way.
Was she really? Holy
yep.
shit!
And I thought that.
Holy shit!
Yeah. We're never gonna cover that movie. Sorry.
Nah, I don't want to.
She's in Prancer.
She's in an episode of Boy Meets World.
She is, but she plays a little white girl with I believe she's in I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. And
oh, that's right.
I feel like she has a pretty funny moment, and God, I love that movie. That's gonna come to Pad. It's got to come to Pad or podcasting or $2 late fee.
Yeah, that's a Pad movie for sure.
For sure. Anyways, yeah, Ariana Richards.
Oh boy,
good times. Yeah. So this besides the cast, the writers S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock are responsible for the franchise. I think they still own the franchise, right? And that's why the movies continue to get made, and the audiobook and the television series. But Ron Underwood helped work on the story as well. Ron Underwood's probably one of the sweetest guests we've ever had on our shows.
His smile is infectious. He's always smiling. When we met him at Pasadena Comic-Con, he's super nice. He's not very unassuming. He doesn't have that like oh, pay attention to me, like I'm this. And then you look up his filmography, he's like, oh God, he's done like City Slickers and shit. Like he's done big ass movies, and he's just the nicest, most down-to-earth dude you can possibly meet.
And that comes across listening to it, because I listened to that interview today, and I was listening audio, and I was like, oh yeah, this guy just sounds like he's just the sweetest dude.
Yeah, he really is. And he shared too, after the tragic passing of Rob Reiner, that Rob Reiner was the one who essentially helped get City Slickers made. If it wasn't for Rob Reiner, that movie would not have been made. So that was a big tragic loss for Ron Underwood, obviously in film community, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, so those guys, the writers, clearly have a love for this franchise. But one thing I found interesting was the composer of this is Ernest Troost. And if that name doesn't sound familiar, it's not a surprise, but he was the composer for Dead Heat.
Oh,
really?
Okay.
Which we've covered on Pad.
Yeah.
And Corey and I love that movie. Have you seen Dead Heat, Max? Did you see that movie?
I don't think so. No, I have. That's
with Treat Williams.
Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo. Yeah,
I know of it. Yeah.
You got to watch that movie. It's a lot of fun. Alexander Grzinski, the cinematographer, he was on the panel.
Yeah.
One of the 16 people on the panel.
Yeah. By the way, I was there. I was there for that panel.
I know you were, because we went to lunch afterwards.
Because what I remember about that panel was I was trying to zoom in, because there was a lot of fans there. So all the front seats were taken, and there was no good place for me to take a picture or video. And I would try to get closer to the stage just to get some shots for you guys. But the amount of people that were, I was like, how do
ridiculous.
I do this? I had to do the eye lens, the 0.5 on your iPhone. I had to zoom out. It was crazy. I've never seen a podcast, or not a podcast. I've never seen a panel that big. So kudos to you guys. You probably have a Guinness World Record out there.
I think they said it's the biggest Tremors reunion panel ever, and it's just holy crap, it was insane, and we didn't know about it until the day before. Zach did a great job of moderating and all the questions and everything. My job was to stand next to Michael Gross and make sure he doesn't fall off the stage, because his foot was right on the end, because the stage was absolutely packed from left to right, and at one point I actually had to catch him when he was kind of getting off, and I kind of was hugging seen him as I was bringing him down. I was just like taking in big, deep breaths, and I was like, "Daddy, can you be my daddy? Can you?"
Wow.
I lost my daddy. Can I have a new one?
That's strange.
In a completely non-sexual way whatsoever.
Either way, it's weird.
It'd probably be less weird if it was sexual.
Yeah, probably.
It's nice that he didn't let you down.
I
Yeah. By the way, so on the special effects front, because I'll get to one of the guys we actually had on the panel, but Bob Kurtzman and Howard Berger worked on this film from KNB, obviously, but Alec Gillis worked on this. He was on the panel. And I was like, why does Alec Gillis look familiar? Because I've seen him in documentaries on all the movies he's worked on, which include Starship Troopers and Alien 3.
Yeah, he's a big freaking name in the industry.
He's a big deal.
Yeah, it's wild.
And he worked on the new Predator Badlands movie.
Yeah, he's still working today and everything, and his resume was insane as well. But you know what, Graboids, look fantastic. This is a good spot to actually talk about the Graboids with him. Max, how did you like them? How did you feel they were portrayed in the movie and everything? And you're seeing it for the first time in 2026, and it's from 1990. How does it hold up?
I mean, it's practical, so it stands the
test of time. Yeah,
absolutely. And I didn't realize, because I've seen the cover and the mouth, but then I saw like the tentacles, and I thought those were like baby graboids or whatever. So when I learned that it was like tentacles grabbing, I don't know, I just thought the whole concept is really cool. It still holds up. Still quite terrifying, especially if you've been in the desert. Like, you're like, the desert's weird, man. The desert, like, it's scary. There should be more desert horror movies, like The Hills Have Eyes, things like that. I don't like the desert, so it gives me the chills just thinking about it. Like, the desert's scary. I will never move to Phoenix or New Mexico. Nope. Get me away from the desert.
I'm not desert people. I'm not desert folk.
I don't want to wake up with a scorpion in my boot or a tarantula on my chest.
Nope.
Zach, these Graboids, they're filmed in broad daylight. Like, this whole movie is broad freaking daylight. Like, holy crap. Like, they have to look good. They have to fucking look good.
I mean, you think about, try to name on one hand outdoor daylight horror films.
Right.
And there's not that many that you can think of that
especially monster movies, they always want to hide the effects and stuff. Yeah.
Monster movies. Yeah. Thank you. That look good, where you go, whoa, yeah. Like, it's legit action movie. By the way, this is produced by one of the producers of this is Gale Ann Hurd, along with Brent Maddock and S.S. Wilson. But Gale Ann Hurd, obviously, juggernaut movie producer. So that's a huge deal as far as getting people behind this movie to make it look as good as possible, because ultimately, those Graboids look phenomenal, and the use of blood was so smart, with the pumpkin guts and whatnot, and it looks so, like in 2025 when I showed it to Bodhi, it looks just as good now as it did back in 1990, if not better. Where you think, we went through our phase in the 90s and 2000s of terrible CGI. Yeah. Terrible. To the point where you're like, if this is the future of cinema, I don't know if I can watch movies anymore. I'm being totally serious with you. Like, there were definitely movies in the 90s and 2000s where I'm like, is this where we're headed? Because this is bad. As much as I love The Mummy, the special effects are terrible in that. And you're like, ooh. That was another Universal movie, by the way. Mm-hmm. This is a Universal Pictures movie. And they again, missed the boat on having a Tremors ride at Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Come on. But it seems like we're getting into a good groove now with a mixture between practical and digital. But this was all practical.
Yeah.
And it's so good. Like the car getting buried into the ground, or, just the practical effects are so good in this film.
Yeah, man, I love me a matte painting too. With as Max, you mentioned Valentine, played by Kevin Bacon.
Val, the good time gal,
peeing off the cliff. That was a matte painting and everything. I love matte paintings, man. I think they're the freaking best. So
I love matte paintings too.
Bring back the matte paintings, man.
I showed Gremlins to Bodie, and he's like, "Oh, that's so fake." I go, "Yeah, I know it's fake. That town is fake, but look how good it looks."
Yeah. There's something about the fakeness of a matte painting that I love. Like I almost don't want it to be like perfect. You know what I mean?
I love seeing matte paintings like in person too. At the Museum of the Academies, they have Batman Returns there, and it's incredible. Yeah. And you're just seeing it, and it's like they show you exactly what scene it's from, but. I would love to see. There's going to be a point of time where there's just going to be a movie made, probably set in 1990 with 1990 materials and all that stuff. It's going to happen eventually, if it hasn't already, like an indie movie and stuff. But yeah, I mean, seeing like Fire and Ash, Avatar, I saw it, and I'm only seeing it for the spectacles. But it's a difference between practical effects, where it's like, you're trying to figure out how did they do that compared to like, oh, you just rendered it in a CG machine, right? I know it. I'm not trying to.
You're not diminishing the ability that these artists have, but I know what you mean. There's no mystery to it,
right? There's like trying to figure out. I'm sure you have to figure out a program or certain motions and things like that, but doing it practically, you gotta get creative,
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to diminish what's going on, but for me, I would love to see something like The Thing over John Carpenter's The Thing over something like what I saw, Avatar: Ash and Fire, which I saw and I was like, cool. I saw it, great.
Yeah.
Well, it is interesting when you look at the credits of a movie now, which has digital effects like that movie, and it's probably 5 to 6, maybe close to 10 minutes of credits, because it's listing all the people who did all the digital rendering and special effects. So clearly it takes a lot of people to do this stuff. But then you go back to a movie like this and you look at the long list of crew, and it's maybe a 3-minute credit sequence, because you're like, they're all doing it. I mean, drove Rob Bottin crazy on The Thing. So there's that. So maybe it's like a little less demanding than it used to be. But man, from us, the three of us in 2026, talking about this movie, appreciating the behind the scenes people that worked on this film, and all the supporting actors too, and everybody, we're not going to get into the weeds as far as everybody's concerned on this, because for those that are new to Podcasting After Dark or Ready to Retro or $2 Leafy, we don't do that. We're not going to go line by line, but we will say that everybody involved in this movie did a great job.
Yeah.
And it's funny to me, Corey, because a month ago, we covered Toxic Avenger that had Kevin Bacon in it, playing a very hilarious role. And he's had wild roles since this movie Tremors. But back in 1990, he feared his career was over because he was doing this movie. And wow, what time will do for your mentality.
Yeah, and I think he's walked it back apparently since, and does praise this and everything. It's a shame that we'll never be able to see that pilot episode that they were gonna make a new Tremors show and Kevin Bacon was gonna be in it and everything, and it just, I think Sci-Fi didn't pick it up, and probably budgetary reasons and everything. But Zach, do you have anybody else in the cast and crew, or should we just mosey on over to the old general discussion?
Let's mosey, but before I do, you guys can all write in the comments section of whether you're watching this on YouTube, and subscribe to it, by the way, if you're listening to it on YouTube or Spotify. Spotify allows comments too now. Let us know, what are some characters or people that we left out that you really love, and let us know why you love them, because, who knows, maybe that person will read the comments in these and go, oh, thanks for the shout out. Laser Boy number 267.
Perfect. All right, well, let's roll a trailer real quick before we get into the general discussion.
Perfection. A scorched outpost in the middle of nowhere.
You know how close I am to leaving this place right now? How close?
Maybe that's why Val and Earl decided to leave town.
Hey, That's Edgar Dean's.
They just picked the wrong day to do it.
Jeez. You guys better get the hell out of here. There's a killer on the loose.
Who could be doing it?
Is that a snake?
I'll give you boys $5 for this.
20.
That's how they get you. They're under the ground.
What the hell are those things? How could they eat a whole station wagon?
But where do they come from? I vote for outer space. No way these are local boys.
You see, they're headed right for us.
No Richter scale can measure it.
They're coming!
No scientist can explain it.
Bert, they're under the ground.
You didn't get penetration even with the elephant gun.
Run, run!
And no one knows what to call it.
Megaworms or suckers or suckoids.
Now, this valley is just one long smorgasbord.
Now, it's up to Val and Earl to save the world.
That's one big mother.
Who died and made you Einstein?
And they know just what to do. Flip for it.
Damn.
Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Tremors.
Zach, you mentioned one of the working titles for the movie. So originally when they were writing the screenplay, they were writing it as Land Sharks, but they couldn't use that because, do you remember the old SNL skit was happening to save Land Shark? You remember that?
Yeah, starring Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Frost. Candy Graham.
Candy Graham. I used to love that one.
So that was trademarked?
I think they were like, we should probably not mess with it. You know what I
Got
mean? Like why err on the side of caution, you know? So Land Sharks was what it was called when they were writing it. When they were filming it, it was Beneath Perfection. That was the working title when they were filming it. Then in post-production, it was going to be Dead Silence, but people thought that was kind of too serious for a movie that's kind of like a horror comedy, you know, action movie. And then they went with Tremors, you know, almost like in the 0 hour towards the end, they went with Tremors, which I think is perfect. What are your thoughts, Max, on the other titles? Land Sharks, Beneath Perfection, and Dead Silence. What's your favorite of the three?
I actually like Beneath Perfection, personally. Because I think there's a play on words there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have this ideal life that you're trying to build, isolated from people. Because, again, if you're living that way, you want to live that way. No one's choosing, right? And you see Val wanting to he's like, dude, I'm done. Like, there ain't no women here my age. Like,
Melvin's the only one that probably didn't choose to live. Melvin and the young little girl are the only ones that didn't choose to live there, you know?
Right? They're stuck there. So, but I like that one. Yeah,
Beneath Perfection.
Beneath Perfection.
Yeah.
There's a lot you can work with that too.
Yeah. Zach, do you have any thoughts on those three?
Yeah, I like Beneath Perfection also. I like Dead Silence. Sounds pretty badass, but it sounds like an action movie.
It sounds like, not for this movie,
zombies.
though.
It doesn't fit. Yeah, it definitely does not fit. But to piggyback on what Max said about, and both of you said about Melvin and Jurassic Park girl. Yeah, like I often think about that when I go to small towns, and you know, there's the person working at the coffee shop, the young kid, or the person, you know, selling you tickets to the boat ride or whatever, and you're like, this kid must really despise living in this town because there's nothing going on for them. How long before this person splits, you know?
I always think, like, when I go on a long road trip, especially like in California in the middle of the 5, you're on a gas station and someone's there, like, where do you live? Do you have to drive 40 minutes to this gas station? Like, I just think like that. Like, there's nothing out here. Like, where do you live?
They probably live in the back of the gas station.
Probably in their car, maybe, unfortunately.
No, I'm not going to do that. Sorry.
No, absolutely not.
No, not at all.
Do listeners do that? And let us know in the comments. How far is your commute?
Oh my God.
People
Max...
are like, you guys live in LA. You suck.
Yeah.
Well, actually, Corey doesn't. And hey, and Max's house burnt down. So F you guys if you say that.
You know what? I would rather.
Zach's invisible
battles.
battles.
Let's move forward.
Oh, Zach's battles, and I don't know who he's battling with.
Battling myself.
I know.
I'm with you, Zach. I'm with you.
Snake, play with myself. Coming in.
Oh, Max, first time seeing the movie, man. Take us wherever you want to go in this discussion. What'd you like? Anything you disliked about the movie? You know, wherever you want to go.
Well, I wrote a plot summary.
Oh,
you want to do that?
Yes, let's do the plot summary. Sorry about that.
Sure.
Yeah, give us a plot summary, buddy.
Let's do this. Tremors is set in a desert town called Perfection, Nevada, a sleepy town of only 14 residents, where isolation comes as easily as baking in the sun. Our two main characters are Valentine, played by Kevin Bacon, and Earl, played by Fred Ward. These two are the town's handyman, and they're looking for the next opportunity to leave town. On their way out, Valentine and Earl find themselves in a real prickly situation. Yes, that's a cactus pun. As they encounter dead bodies, blocked roads, and tremors from the ground. And this, my nostalgic loving friends, is where the movie starts to get sensational.
Oh, look at this. Max Boyle is going to be the new lead movie writer at the...
I'm down.
Whatever.
Oh, there's more.
Oh,
There's more. These tremors are caused by the giant underground phallic-looking worms called Graboids. Just like any great creature feature, the Graboids have rules and limitations that they live by. Just like Marky Mark, they have an incredible detection of vibration. Come on. Feel the vibration. If you walk, they eat you. If you stand still, they wait for you. If you pole vault across the sand, they get confused, pissed off, and they run their damn heads into a stone wall. The dwindling town, including a cutie geologist, a pair of doomsday survivalists, the grandpa from Three Ninjas, a punk-ass kid named Melvin, and the girl from Jurassic Park who said, "He left us. He left us." They all must band together to survive by retreating to rooftops, water towers, and boulders. This movie has a real pool. It's a gripping tale. It's got horror, action, comedy. You might even call it a real gut buster.
No.
And that, my friends, is the plot of Tremors.
Oh, bravo.
That was amazing. And done.
Great job,
that was phenomenal.
buddy. Oh, crap. Okay. So
do
Max,
what you will with that.
I love it. I mean, it's great, man. But yeah, take us wherever you want to go, my friend.
Sure. So I wanted to talk about there's 4 things, and we don't have to get them all right after one or one after another, but there's like 4 unique things that I found in this movie. I think one is, and again, this was made 1990, but it was made in 1989. So
yeah.
This is like, we'll call it for an 80s
just like
movie.
you were made in 1989.
Exactly, dude. So there's two equal characters as the main hero in this. And that was really rare because we're coming off of like Rambo, Commando, all Predator, all these like just action heroes. But you have this duel, and they don't really, they're not antagonists, or they don't antagonize one another. They really complement one another, and I think that's kind of rare in a action sort of horror movie, which I just wanted to call that out, that Earl and Val, they're a perfect crew, and that's actually quite rare, especially to see 2 alpha dogs working together, because you see the friendship. So I don't know if you guys want to comment on that, but you don't see it really, especially in the 80s, like this.
Yeah, Zach, like we really, well, hey, how about again, Dead Heat has somewhat similar, maybe a little Tango and Cash, although I don't really care about that movie. But yeah, it's kind of rare. Can you think of any other like sort of dual,
There's like Lethal
leads?
Weapon, but still Mel Gibson is the main character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's it's a buddy. I mean, Kevin Bacon's supposed to be the main guy, but I'm gonna be honest with you. He kind of comes off more annoying than Fred
Melvin?
Ward does. Yeah, than
Fred
Melvin.
Ward.
Yeah, like I feel like Fred Ward is like the grounded one in all of this.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, mostly buddy cop movies. But when you think of like action horror films, not really. I guess it usually ends up. Case in point, look at Predator. So many great characters, but then it's really just the one guy who it comes down to, unfortunately. This one's like they're kind of even on the same level. They're pretty much on the same level the whole time. They never, not one shifts more over the other. I think at times but they do a good job script wise of like giving each of them a moment to be the lead.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Totally. And then of course, Kevin Bacon, I think, to your point of him maybe being more of the lead, he's the one that does kill the last Graboid and everything. But like, I'm watching it, they're like, but they're all running together, like all three of them. And it almost becomes like a trisemble as well, with the three of them at the end. Because if you just look at the fact that they're the ones that are running, Rhonda's like, I have the lighter, someone else has the bomb. So, it's
all
like
three of them are
have
involved.
have a necessary part of the whole. But yeah, Max, it's definitely those two are who you're connected with. And they're also rarely taken apart. Like they're always next to each other, what I mean? They even live together essentially.
Right. Yeah.
That town is so damn small. That's why.
Yeah.
But I also like too that they don't turn it into like it's sort of a love triangle, but sort of not.
No, I wouldn't say so.
With Rhonda, it's like it's very tame too. They don't go for the heavy-handed like, romancing stone. Michael Douglas's head is in Kathleen Turner's thighs, kind of deal. Because they could clearly do that. They make Rhonda, like this sweet nerdy scientist. And
she's intelligent.
Yeah, and they keep her that way. They don't. They never dumb her down, because sometimes they'll do that in movies where suddenly they become a damsel in distress. Right. Or case in point, you take a tough character on paper and you make him totally weak sauce, like in Maniac Cop with that. With that girl in Lady in Maniac Cop, where she's like supposed to be a tough cop, and you're like, oh, but she's so not a tough cop, Right. And this one is like she's a scientist, so she's got to have a level head about her, and she pretty much does the whole time.
And she's brave. She's brave. I mean, when she causes that distraction with the water, kicking it off from the ladder, she's just not a damsel in distress, like you said. That was one of my other points, was that the love triangle, just the women in this are depicted with respect and honor rather than just a plot device or sexualized or things like that.
Yeah.
So
and
I mean, I know her pants comes off, but what are you going to do?
But it makes sense though.
Yeah,
it does. Yeah. It totally does.
And they don't keep her out of pants for very long. Like, what I mean? Like, boom, we get her right back into pants. And I do like how the other characters, they respect how smart she is. So even even Val is like, why are they doing this? And I like when she's like, why do you keep asking me? Like, I don't know, like, yes, I'm a smart geologist, but I don't know anything about graboids, So yeah, I think all the characters are well-rounded, and like maybe again, Nestor might not be, because it doesn't have as much time or whatever, right. But then at least his death was sort of meaningful and impactful and everything. What were your other thoughts, Max?
Yeah, the other thing is, what's so unique is that our two heroes are blue-collar guys.
Yeah.
And I wanted to compare that to other leading roles in an 80s action movie. But, like, we have Dutch, right, from Predator. He's Special Forces. We have Riggs from Lethal Weapon, LAPD. John McClane, NYPD.
Riggs was also, like, Special Forces, too, before he was LAPD,
Yeah. You have Mad Max. He's a police officer. That's even in the future, Kurt Russell in Big Trouble in Little China. He's a truck driver, adventurer, but, he's kind of a goof, but, but my point is that these are blue collar guys. They're handyman, right? These are like, you grew up with these people. These are your uncles, and they're saving the day. And I think it was just refreshing. And it's like the skills or the combat experience, that's not what qualifies them for being the heroes. It's having the courage and the love for their community to go out there and to protect and saying, hey, we have a problem. They could have, left and just say, well, let's leave. But they wanted to go back to the place that they're leaving because those are people that they care for. So I just thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and even
this movie's deep.
I know. Like I said before, even the way the Gummers are like, yeah, okay, Val, what do you need us to do? Like, we're ready, to do it. You call the shots, and it just it sort of falls in naturally.
Yeah, it does. I'm still one of my biggest takeaways though is that Victor Wong dies in it.
Yeah.
And that was a bummer to me. I was like, no, that actually was probably the biggest bummer. If anything out of this movie I would change, I wouldn't have killed him.
Yeah, okay. So actually one of my questions was, whose death in the movie affected you the most? And we have 9 people that die. We have this this sort of older couple, a doctor and his wife. They die, which he dies pretty horribly, screaming and everything. Like this movie has some pretty... It's PG-13, but there's still deaths that are kind of like, oh, damn. Like, that dude's just straight up getting eaten and everything. Victor Wong, like, I know me and my friends have sort of make fun of his hands and everything, but, like, you watch this movie and you realize that, Zach, did you also notice, like, his leg is sticking out, like, so it breaks as he's being eaten as well?
Oh, yeah, like his body snapped.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then, again, Nestor, the old guy with his sheep that get eaten and stuff like that. And so and then the linemen, the construction workers or whatever, they kind of get it horribly. There's a lot of deaths in this PG-13 movie, and I think the reason that they're so, all of them are so good but also effective is because, again, I don't want to see anyone die in this movie. Like, I like these people, even people we barely even know. You still know them because of the way Val and Earl react to their deaths. They're like, oh man, that's old man so-and-so, and, his sheep are out. Why are his sheep out? And then they find his head, But then, like I said, the doctor always freaked me out because he's screaming for his wife to save him. Like, and I'm just like, damn, dude, like, that sucks. But for me, it was always Nestor. It's just the way that it affected Melvin, and I was like, damn, that must suck. Zach, so for you, is it Walter Chang and his slick mitts?
Yeah, and his slick mitts. Yeah, and like I said earlier, in like ensemble kind of disaster type movies, there's always that one guy that you want to see get killed. They don't have that in this. They don't have that one guy. Like, you don't want to see Melvin get wasted.
No.
He's a kid.
I kind of did.
Max is like, fuck that kid.
Yeah, punk ass kid,
Case in point, fine.
They set it up, but I was like, oh, this kid's a goner because they're setting it up where it's the boy who cried wolf, right?
Yeah.
But he ends up surviving, which I was actually surprised about.
When Bert gives him the gun and he's running, he tries to shoot. He's like, "Damn you, Bert!" But Max, I mean, first time seeing it, it's a PG-13 movie with 9 deaths in it that you see most. You see most of them. What did you think about them? And did any of them affect you?
It toes the line, definitely, for a PG-13 rated R. But what I was reading was that it was intended to be a rated R movie, and then they changed it, mostly language and stuff.
Yeah, for the apparently they had a bazillion fucks in it, and that's when he's talking to Bert in that one, like on the phone, and he's like, he calls it like a mother humper or something.
Mother humper, dude.
Mother humper.
Yeah. What up, my mother humpers?
Yeah.
When I see you guys at Pasadena Comic-Con, that's how I'm gonna greet you. What up, my mother humpers? I'm gonna scream on the floor. These are my mother humpers. I'm going to. Oh, it's recorded.
Oh, boy. Look forward to it.
Yeah. But it still holds up, and it's Corey, you mentioned it on your review, with your interview, that this was like kind of a kids horror movie. Like, we kind of coined it on Ready to Retro as gateway to horror.
Yeah.
Right. And I would say, like, this would probably be a good gateway to horror. Probably, 9-10 years old, depending on the kid. But yeah, the PG-13 you're kind of like when I saw Predator Badlands, I was like, PG-13, what are we doing here? But it worked, and I think with this movie, it also works.
Yeah. Did you have any particular kill in it that you enjoyed, or didn't enjoy, or?
I thought the old couple that was pretty I don't know. It was kind of like Up, how they were able to suck you in for like these small minutes. They're like, oh, that's cute. They're like living their life, and they're probably retired, and they're traveling, and then it's like, bye. That was kind of like, that was heart wrenching, man.
Yeah.
And then she's like seeing her husband go down, and I was just thinking, like, man, I hope this is how me and Jasmine go. That's what I was thinking.
Wow.
I want a story, dude. I want a story at my memorial service.
And I remember as a kid when I saw it in the theater, I jumped when the Graboid comes out, the tongue, when she's like reaching for him and everything. And so every time I watch it now, even though I've seen it a million times, I always tense up a little bit right before that spot,
Because you can feel that tongue.
Yeah. Oh, Max, what else did you have on your notes?
Actually, we mentioned it, so it was the just the acknowledgement of women and not a damsel in distress. And then we've been kind of talking about it, but the ensemble cast, they're real characters and not just a plot or meat for the Graboids. So pretty unique film that looking at the cover, knowing the genre, knowing the era, it actually has a lot more depth and a lot more than I was expecting, especially when you hear a series that has 7 movies. You're like, oh, how good can this really be? And it blew my expectations. I'm not just saying that. Like, I would tell you if it was like,
Yeah.
it's all right. But no, I enjoyed it. And I was like, okay. So much so that, like I said earlier, I want to watch all 7 movies.
Well, and I'm watching it now, and, like I said, I have seen other of the Tremors sequels, not all of them. There's one like in the snow or something that was like I watched with Myra, I think a couple of years ago when it first came out. And like Michael Gross, like Burt Gummer kind of becomes a bit, over the top, a bit of a cliche, of his character and everything. But right now in the first movie, yeah, we all kind of like have a good time with it, but he still, it's a character that I believe exists. Like, I don't believe his character exists later, like the way he acts and stuff like that. And he's definitely having more fun with it. But here in this movie, I don't think he's a cliche yet. He's not a stereotype yet. Like he is playing it, pretty grounded. And I like what Michael Gross does with it.
Yeah. And for him to come off, not too long from Family Ties and kind of change up his, repertoire of acting abilities. And we talked a little bit about this with Ron Underwood. He had roles prior to this that made him stand out from playing Stephen Keaton on Family Ties. But when you are an actor known for one particular role and you try to change it up, sometimes it's not always well received. And it's such a funny character.
Mm-hmm.
This movie's really like, even if it's dark, even at its dark moments, it never gets too dark because it's mostly in the daytime, but also for the fact that it's threatening to the characters, but you don't feel threatened as an audience member. You're always really much detached from it. Like, well, this couldn't happen to me kind of thing. I'm not going out in the desert. Like you said, Max, you're like, I'm not going. I think most people would say that. They're like, I'm not going out into the desert. Even like the pole vaulting scene, which I love, by the way, I love that scene. And as a kid, I tried to recreate it whenever I went to the beach and I saw like big rocks and I'd be like, oh, trying to jump over rocks and stuff like that. It's just cool. It's not scary to me, but there is tension there. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Not scary, but you feel the tension.
Yeah.
It's like a Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah.
There's stakes on the line, because they establish what the Tremors can do. And the fact that it's underground, I'm going to get like really deep right now, guys. But it's like almost like the emotional things that you push down inside your,
Yeah.
and they just all kind of surface up and ends up, taking you down. So, but yeah, no, I love the scenes where the ground just starts to shake. I mean, being here in Southern California, born and raised, like I was a kid when the Northridge earthquake hit, but like I remember it. That's one of my earliest memories in '94, and I remember plates falling, things crashing, and yeah. So like being in a big earthquake, but then knowing that that's a creature trying to kill you, and you have to be quiet. You can't talk. Like there's I think what makes a good creature feature are the rules.
Okay, yeah.
They have weaknesses, right? Just like like a vampire. There's rules for vampires. There's rules for these graboids, and I think that's what makes it fun. When you have rules for gremlins or anything like that, it creates almost like this reality because they're not just overpowered, and it's like, well, whatever, and anything goes. But
yeah, they're not like they're not OP'd, like if anything, you're almost like, oh well, it's fine. Like how much harm can it really do? It's underground, and they do find ways to make it interesting, to keep you on your toes as a viewer, as much as the characters are having to stay on their toes as well, because I like how smart they are, the Graboids.
Yeah, they're intelligent.
Yeah, and I think that's even scarier when a monster can start figuring things out and everything. That's what I think is the most scary. And it was smart on I don't know whose decision it was, if it was in the script or if it was Ron Underwood. But like the fact that there was this one Graboid that got part of his tentacle ripped off by the Jeep, and then that's also the last one, and it's the smartest one and everything. They have to Val kind of outsmarts it with the bomb and everything. I like that they gave us like a Graboid to kind of like to know, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of it's that's another thing I like in monster movies. Is when you can actually, and especially if there's multiple monsters, give us one that we can kind of latch onto and almost make it a character. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Well, that's always hard to do when there's multiple creatures, You've got your alien queen and aliens. And you've got this one that looks like all the other ones too. I know in the further sequels and whatnot, they get a little bit more detail with the, unique underground dwellers, but
the ass blasters.
Yeah. So it's hard. But again, I think that's what sets this movie apart from so many others is you don't have a cliche guy running around with a mask, claws at this point going, ha ha ha, see any dreams. Cause it's like, that was worn out trope at this point. This is something unique and different. And it harkens back to them, like you said, on the interview with Ron Underwood, Corey, giant monster kind of movies haven't been really seen in a long time. Other movies have tried this and failed. Eight-Legged Freaks could have been so good, but it was so bad.
And I remember a lot of buzz that people, I feel like maybe it was Fangoria or somebody, but they were trying to push it as the new Tremors. Like we said, this movie did not do well theatrically, but it exploded on VHS and clearly, caused all these sequels. So by the time Eight-Legged Freaks came out, they were like, this is the next Tremors. And it wasn't, and I saw it, and I've seen it once. I remember being so, not unimpressed by it. It was just more like one of those movies where I was like, that's there. It's a film. You know what I mean? But there's some magic about this, and it's not Kevin Bacon. It's not just Kevin Bacon. It's not just Fred Ward. It's not just any one person. It's not just the monsters themselves. Yeah, I love Graboids. I think they're great, but they're not like my favorite movie monster. It's just there's something, an X factor that this movie has. There's a magic sprinkling to it that I think really, I don't know if you can put your finger on it, but it's a culmination of everything. And, it built up steam through the 90s. People still love this movie, now, but it was pretty fucking big in the 90s,
Yeah.
It is interesting because I feel like I've been to a lot of horror conventions and, in talking with a lot of horror created content creators and things like that, but I just feel like Tremors just gets overlooked, and I'm kind of curious as why, because I feel like it has the ingredients for it to blow up, but maybe there'll be a movie that will be similar to it and it'll blow up. I just think of Killer Clowns from Outer Space until it came out. the remake.
Yeah.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space was still just like a B movie that only a few people, but that just opened the door, and it like people started to investigate more movies about clowns and things like that. And then Killer Clowns from Outer Space is like everywhere now. It's on Spirit and things. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Who's to say? We don't know what pop culture, what gets popular, and things that weren't popular back then. If Tremors, well, if Stranger Things was set in 1991 or something, or 1990, and they were watching Tremors, like Tremors would probably have another resurgence. So
Yeah.
you just never know what pop culture in the future will help resurrect. So
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. I think one of the things I think is the humor in it is what people like, the horror community. I know, but here's the thing: everyone like loves it, but you don't hear the horror people like talking about it all the time.
Mm-mm.
It's always like Art the Clown or something like that. It's a killer. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you can't cosplay as a graboid. You know what I mean? Like you can't dress up as one or whatever.
You're going to a different convention if you're dressing up like a
I've seen
graboid.
some pretty
Hentai
interesting. There's been some people online. The Tremors community, at least on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh my gosh, the Reddit page, I went on there, which by the way, you guys are on there.
Oh,
your
are we?
interviews and
Oh,
stuff.
cool.
Yes. Check out the Reddit page because they are diehards on there.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
okay.
they are. I think I'm sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Levi runs that as well. But I'm wondering though if this is a conversation maybe for wrap up after dark at the end of the month. And if you're curious about that and want to know more about it, sign up to patreon.com/podcastingafterdark, and you can listen to Wrap Up After Dark, our monthly wrap-up series on Patreon. But, maybe the franchise would have been more mythical if it hadn't run for so long. You know what I mean? 5 sequels and television series, like, okay. And it kind of got diluted over time, versus one movie like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and then gets the video game, and it, in many people's minds, it holds this very high stature. Versus Tremors, you go, oh, we're now into the Sharknado territory.
Right. Yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. And Zach, I want to continue that line of thinking and ask you, like, is the first movie a cult classic? It has all the tropes of a cult movie because it didn't do well in the theater. You know what I mean? It found its audience on VHS and everything. Would you consider Tremors, the first one, a cult movie, or is it just mainstream now?
It's what happened to The Thing. It's The Thing. If you consider The Thing a cult movie, then Tremors is a cult movie. Maybe more so, though, because you don't see McFarlane Toys action figures or NECA making, ass blasters.
Yeah. Okay. So it's our ever evolving conversation about cult movies. How at one point they can be cult, and then at some point they go mainstream, and it can go reverse. Like a movie that was mainstream back in the 80s, like I don't know, like Cocoon, right? Like it was so big in the 80s, but now you can't find it anywhere, and like no one talks about it. That's almost falling, I think, into cult status at some point.
Right.
Yeah, Max, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my personal standard for this is there a pop figure? Is there a Funko Pop figure?
Right.
If it is, then it's mainstream. If not, then it's not. So I don't know. Is there? Because I'm going to look right now. If there's not, then I'm going to say it's an occult film. That's my personal take on it.
Okay.
There's fan-made figures, but I don't think there's any sanction, like, official
my
ones.
criteria would be, no, it's not mainstream.
Okay.
And also, you don't see Fright Rags or Gutter Garbs putting out Tremors
Right.
tees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they should, by the way. Like a Perfection. Like, come on. Why has Fright Rags not made a Perfection trucker hat?
Yeah.
They make everything else. I would totally sport a Perfection trucker hat if they made one.
Or
That'd be dope.
Or what was Bert's license plate is like Uzi for you or something like that.
Yeah.
And or you could even make one of like I think Earl and Val had a little bit of a logo or something. You could do.
There are so many Tremors fans. You're listening to this, and I know someone's going to make it. Earl and Val's
handyman service or whatever it was.
Yeah, or lizard. Tremors. What do you call it? Graboid jerky, or something like that.
That'd
Like,
be good.
come on, the t-shirts make themselves, right?
Yeah,
so
seriously.
it's all out there. Come on, guys, it's all out there.
I have one last question I want to ask both of you. multiple theories are put forward in this movie as to where the Graboids came from, possibly from space, or prehistoric times, stuff like that. But what is your headcanon, Zach, of where the Graboids come from?
If Leviathan and Deep Star 6 can come deep out of the water, then this is buried deep and it's prehistoric. So that's my theory.
I'm the same as you, buddy. And for the same reason too. It's like maybe they were just buried so deep down. They were, hunting other things. Who knows? But I feel like they're they look prehistoric. You know what I mean? And something like maybe it was the nuclear testing, brought them to the surface. I don't think they're mutations. I think they're prehistoric and they've come up, from the deep. Max, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think so too. And if you want to go a little deeper, like where my imagination goes is like as the world gets louder, there's like, what if this was set in New York, right? And all the noise and just the Graboids just come and destroy New York or something. But the sound of, because you got some sound pollution things that we could talk about. Like there's a lot of themes you can run with that. But I'm with you guys. I think it's the prehistoric because I don't know, aliens.
Nah.
It just it doesn't fit as much.
Yeah. That's also a worn out cliche.
Yeah.
Like let's we've so much territory on our planet that we have yet to discover. So let's go into that.
Including the lizard people that are probably with the Graboids.
Right, yeah, like Hollow Earth theory and all this kind of stuff. But like, I think one of the things the movie does well is does not give us an answer to that. But I like how they casually, address it because it happens when they're on the boulders and they're waiting and everything. What else are you going to talk about, while you're waiting to get away? But yeah, Max, I'm glad you enjoyed this. I'm glad. Was there anything you didn't like? Any like scenes you're like, this was kind of slow, or anything? Any negative remarks on it?
I mean, I both like it, and I think it's really dorky. Just the all right, like the
when Melvin takes his hair or whatever.
Yeah, that part. Like I'm like, this is awesome, but like it's also kind of it doesn't fit the rest of the movie, the tone, and I think but yeah, there's not a whole lot that I think maybe some of Kevin Bacon's delivery is like his
smorgasbord
is kind of weird, and I feel like he was trying to like figure out the character as he was going.
Okay.
So I would be interested to know and to see like what was filmed first, what was filmed after, and seeing it was like, oh, this is Kevin Bacon trying to figure out the character as he goes.
Okay. Zach, did we show this to Bodie? I can't remember.
Yeah, Bodie watched it before the panel, I believe.
Yeah, I was there, right? Yeah, so we watched it with Bodie. Yeah, he loved it.
Yeah, he loved it, and I echo. As much as I love Kevin Bacon, he has his moments sometimes where I'm like, his line delivery is a little sus. But
it's weird.
But Fred Ward is like, what was it? Finn Carter told a story at the Pasadena Comic-Con convention about they were getting ready to go on to set, and Fred like had his guitar with him. He brought his guitar everywhere he went, and he would just sit on the porch and play his guitar, and he was just like the personification of cool. That dude was cool. Rest in peace to Fred Ward.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, and he is my favorite character in the movie. I fucking love him. He's fantastic.
He just looks cool.
Yeah, he looks cool. Like, dude, I was like, oh man.
Look, and again, I'll say it again. I love Kevin Bacon.
Yeah,
but he's kind of dorky looking.
Yeah,
he's got
a little pig nose,
yeah, with his hair and his hat and all that. Like, it's all good, but come on, Fred Ward is like, okay, everyone again. Who do you like more, Fred Ward or Kevin Bacon? Go.
Yeah.
Who's cooler? Who's the guy who you would want to battle Graboids with? Kevin Bacon or Fred Ward? Fred Ward.
Yeah, absolutely. Leave a comment on Spotify or YouTube or wherever. Let us know if you're Val or Earl. Who would you rather fight?
Team
Graboids
Val
with?
or Team Earl?
And I'm sure, but Burt Gummer's not in it because we all know we want to hang out with Burt no matter what. So, but Val or Earl, which one?
We already did the interview with Michael Gross. Go listen to that. He's great.
He's awesome.
Everyone loves Burt. we're talking about Tremors 1, guys. Tremors 1.
Yeah. Max, any final thoughts? Anything we didn't, talk about that you want to bring up now on Tremors?
No, I think we covered it. We
Cool.
covered a lot of good space here, you guys.
All right. So yeah, so just your final thoughts on Tremors then, man?
Yeah, final thoughts. I mean, thank you guys for inviting me. Kind of happened organically because I was there and we were just, having some beers in Pasadena. They're like, hey, you should come. And I'm like, yeah, 'cause I've seen this movie. And then I watched it and I was like, no, I've never seen this movie. But you guys are always like kind of like my older cousins who introduced me to cool stuff. And that still happens. And I like that. So thank you, older cousins.
You're welcome.
Not much older cousins.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 50 this year, so
hey, you said it, not me. You said it, not me. All
what the
right?
hell? What the hell? What is happening? What is going on?
Which Michael Gross was younger than you when in Tremors, so
Yeah, who looks younger now though?
yeah, it's true. Yeah. But I liked it. It was great, and thank you, Mother Humpers, for having me on this podcast. That was great.
Did Jasmine watch it with you?
No, you know what? Because of everything that was happening in our week, I wanted to make sure I had time. It was either going to be I squeezed it in today and watched it with her, or I stayed up super late a couple nights ago and watched it and made sure I watched it. So I did the latter.
Okay.
So, but
Good call.
she was
Good
like,
call, buddy.
she was like, because I know I would have been, guys, gonna have to reschedule. Didn't want to be that guy. So she said she would want to see it. So
Cool.
and sometimes I have to my wife doesn't like super violent, overly violent stuff. Like she's really sensitive to that, and like especially what's going on in the world and stuff, where she's exposed to a lot of things. And so I kind of watch things and be like, oh no, you can handle this. She can handle Tremors, no problem.
Nice. Zach, final thoughts on Tremors?
Final thoughts. This is kind of our culmination episode where we wrapped up all our Tremors discussion. We did an interview with Ron Underwood last month and Zoran Graboids. You all should check that out. We also got Michael Gross, who is out now. You should check that out. A little bit of Tremors talk in that too. And then over on $2 Late Fee, Don Michael Paul earlier in the year. I think October is when I dropped that one. Or maybe earlier, September. Anyways, it's a cult classic, spawned a franchise. Amazing fan base. That's maybe one of the highlights of this. Is like the people who love this franchise and why they love it. And really inclusive. So I love that, everybody can come to perfection. And that's what perfection is, isn't it? There's no such thing as perfection.
Oh, man.
But we get pretty damn close when we connect on movies like this.
How am I supposed to follow that?
Well, you got to have a little sparkle, like a sparkle sound effect. Like as
I'm
Zach
49.
God
That's probably
damn.
Fred Ward, the same age as me, by the way.
Oh, man. Well, guys and gals, I love it. I love this movie. Always have. Always will. And my wife loves it, too, so it's fun to watch it with her. And I do stand by the fact that I think it's a great entry movie for horror fans, and, younger watchers can enjoy it as well. So, yeah, this Tremors will always live in my life. It'll be a movie I always watch, like, once a year. It's an easy watch. Just pop it on and be like, I always have a good time with it. So, Tremors, I love it. Max, I'm with you. I would like to move forward and give the franchise a chance. Because I did enjoy that one that was in the snow, but, I also felt like I've heard that, like, some of them are a bit better than others, so I would like to kind of give that a chance, and if I can, watch the show at some point, but I don't have that much time these days. But, yeah, Tremors. Max, thanks for doing this with us, and I'm glad you liked it. And everyone, please check out the nonprofits that Max mentioned earlier and help our friends in Altadena and all over the world, essentially, if you can. But we'll have links to all the ones that Max mentioned in the show notes, wherever you find this, online. And so, yeah, whatever you can. And like Zach said, even if you could just be an ear for your friend. Sometimes people just need to vent, and sometimes people just need someone to listen to them vent, and sometimes they just need people to listen and just, you know, acknowledge their existence, essentially. So, man, when we're recording it today, has been a really, really tough 2 days. So, yeah, be kind to one another, you know, like seriously, fucking seriously. But how should we end this? Should we go out on?
I got it.
Yeah. All right, what you got?
We're ready to get our $2 late fees after dark. Are you?
Be sure to subscribe to Podcasting After Dark on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. You can support the show by joining our Patreon page, picking up a t-shirt from our merch store, or leaving us a 5-star review. Follow us on Instagram at Podcasting After Dark. All links can be found on our website at www.podcastingafterdark.com. And join us next time for another cult movie or TV show review with Corey Stevenson and Zach Schaefer.
Have you been wondering where's the beef? Well, on our podcast, Throwback Trivia Takedown, you might just find that out, as well as some other things about the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
We're a nostalgic-based trivia show that pits two challengers head-to-head in a duel of the decades, with categories ranging from movies, TV, and music, to slang, food, and fashion. You're sure to get the best in retro-themed trivia.
So strap on your jelly shoes, grab a Surge, and walk like an Egyptian to your favorite podcast app and check out Throwback Trivia Takedown.
I heard even Mikey likes it.